And why we're here today is to discuss the issue about the seven gentlemen that passed away, that were negligently killed at working for NAWEC, working for KGI Industry and BB Electric. And we send our condolences again, and we pray for all the victims, and we hope and we work hard to ensure justice and prevail. It's very important to note this. We can pray, we can do everything, but justice needed for these victims. And when we say justice, it's not about the compensation alone, which they are a sufficient or meaningful compensation for them, but again, so that the incident can be investigated and this can be avoided. And to let the Gambians know, this is not the first one that happened with NAWEC recently. I think it happened 2 other times, and I'm not sure whether any of them end up with someone dead or severe injuries, but it did happen before. It's not something new. But the way things happen in our country is just that. There's no standards, there's no regulations, there's no enforcement. And this is why it leads to poor people putting their life at risk and nothing comes out of it. Be in the police or any services, they end up losing their lives and their families suffer, and issues keep on happening. And the background of the story, which most of us are familiar with now, it's they were contracted by a company called BB Electrical. BB Electrical were contracted by an Indian company called KGI Industry. KGI Industry were contracted by NAWEC. Now, I read it in that order, but ultimately, NAWEC is responsible for what happened. NAWEC should take responsibility of what happened, and any other entity that play a role can be held accountable. But the narrative NAWEC is trying to put out there, or some people want to put out there, is, the problem, it's not NAWEC. And I have even seen recently people saying, they are not electricians, they are laborers, as if it matters. What matters here is the life of people that are lost, and the potential of lives continue to be lose through negligent accidents, because of these are accidents that are preventable. And that's why we have to take it as preventable accidents. They are not just accidents as it's been portrayed. We learned about this, and many people did not have hope because of this government, be NAWEC or institutions in the Gambia, that will not tell you the truth, and they will never take responsibility. And they have understood that Gambians easily forget and move away. It's always the victims that will stay with their pain. It's always the victims that will continue to suffer without people standing up for them. And this is what they expect from this case. The government will talk about it once and twice, and they will move away and we forget about it. But it will happen again. If accidents happen and they are not investigated properly and make sure measures are taken to avoid them, they are bound to happen again. That's why we expect institutions to have professional standards and that they apply to ensure life are safe and accidents are avoided. In the Gambia, we don't take safety. Africa, we don't take safety. Very important, and which is sad. I can't understand why people's life are not treasured, because in most of the cases, people whose life are put under danger, for them, or the ones we realize are people from a poor background. But some of these accidents can have consequences that can end up, catching up to a lot of other people. And this is why it's important to deal with this issue. First, let's deal with what's been exposed. And we'll deal with why NAWEC coming out with a press release this afternoon. trying to distance themselves from what have happened, which just doesn't make sense. First, we learned from what's on Gambia that a paper without a letterhead, this is deliberate. NAWEC will not put a letterhead. If a lawyer is working for them, it's not putting their letterhead because they know that this is controversial. And they might end up putting a letterhead later on once they get the signatures. They know what they were doing is controversial and nobody wants to own up. There's no letterhead with the document, which was deliberate from the people that did this. But we all know, and in the context of this letter will prove that NAWEC is aware of what is happening. We will prove that NAWEC did take part in this. Let them come and deny it as much as they want, but the letter that's been issued to families have indicated NAWEC have been aware of this move. Now, the letter, it says letter of consent for the death of our relatives. They went and wrote a letter, a sort of a document, on behalf of the family, trying to fraudulently get this family to sign on giving consent of, making a statement so that the corporations involved will be absolved for any responsibility. How wicked can someone be to do this? In this time that people have passed away, they are mourning their families, these are breadwinners and everything. Their loved ones, their husbands, their sons, cousins, and whatever it is, what you think of, let's go there, not to pay our condolences for now and wait for things to be investigated. No, let's get in there to stop any way of putting them at disadvantage, discouraging them to able to take legal action, which should happen. Now, they said, according to the letter draft for them, our family members named Mr. Sambasar unfortunately died due to fatal accident on the 9/10/2024 and was laid to rest on the 10/10/2024 by the family. They continue to say, we hereby acknowledge and appreciate the role and conduct of his employees, namely BB Electrical, the contractor MSKIG Industry Limited, as well as the principal, let me emphasize, as well as the principal, the National Water and Electric Company, NAWEC, during these hours of our grief. It's clear. NAWEC is mentioned in the context text of the letter. Now, they are forcing, they are influencing the family to say these words of appreciation. What do they have to appreciate after you? Our sons went to give service and they die under your due to your negligence. Yes, it will be negligence. So far, what indications we have is negligence. It saying that they mentioned the BB Electric, the company directly they work for, if it is even fit to be called a company, and they call the contractor, but at the principal, which is NAWEC. Let's move on. They continue to say, in this regards, in this regard, we once again acknowledge the support given to the family on the on his funeral and allied services by the aforesaid, the print is not very clear for me, entities on humanitarian grounds. Again, they are making the family say this. The family did not write the letter. They wrote the letter and brought it to the family, trying to show appreciation for the support given to them. They continue to say, we have accept this, the said death as the call of God, as people of faith, Muslims, and forgone all all legal action in this regard. How dare you go at this moment to put this to the families, that they accept this as a work of God, call of God, as Muslims, and they have forgiven and forgone all legal actions in regards. Is this not a preemptive to disadvantage the family? Why would anybody do this? We pray for the dependent soul to us in Jannah Firfida. And they went there, they went with a former president of the Supreme Islamic Council, led by a religious leader. Now, going there to present this, which is a fraudulent act, trying to disassociate themselves, trying to insulate themselves for avoiding legal action. The decency, where is the decency here? Because giving them something like 150,000. This is what they did, and now I want to disassociate themselves. And the reason NAWEC really put this release out is due to what have written in reaction to this letter. Their spokesperson, who came onto on the Open Gambia platform, starting to put his spin, trying to discourage the discussions and deflect, ran to put this press release from NAWEC. Let me read the press release. The press release written today, the 14th, there's a clarification on false information regarding beverage families. They said NAWEC has learned with shock and dismay about the false information circulating on social media, claiming that the company was involved in offering money and consent form to beverage families, asking them to refrain from pursuing legal action. Again, for people that just joining us, go and read what have been written in the letter presented to the family. In the letter presented to the family, I'll read again, it says, to debunk what NAWEC is saying, that we hereby acknowledging and appreciating the role and conduct of his employers, namely BB Electrical, the contractor MSKID Industry Limited, as well as the principal, the National Water and Electric Company, NAWEC, during these hours of our grief. Who mentioned NAWEC there? Did I mention NAWEC there? Did I read? Who wrote this letter? You see, the reason they're doing this, the letter doesn't have a letterhead, because of this they know what they're doing is unpopular, and they would use this letter after and put a letterhead on it. They will make it, this is a fraudulent act. They presented a letter without a letterhead. Nobody owning up to it, nobody signing it. But guess what? The reason they will put a delegation with a letter like this, wanting the families to sign it, because of NAWEC is aware of it. NAWEC cannot say that they are not aware. Their name is there. Let them take it up to people who went there then. Their name is there. NAWEC cannot say that because they haven't sent a person representative. They will not, because they're hiding something. People are not stupid. Let them not try to insult our intelligence. Because this was done in preparation for to undermine illegal action. That's why there's no letterhead from NAWEC, not a lawyer, not anybody. But we know that the delegation was sent, and NAWEC would be aware of it. NAWEC don't have to send a member of the corporation to be present. They are aware to say that they have not. They are shocked or what? Have they not read the letter? Not that they have not read the letter, they know about it. They are aware. You don't trust anything these people said. Just as everything NAWEC have been telling us, they have never came out to tell us the truth. This is not personal. It continues, and I'll point to other reasons to say why they should be responsible. The press release continue to say, we categorically state that NAWEC has not been involved in this matter, has not collaborated with any group to offer money, and has no knowledge of any consent form presented to the family. As the issue is now under investigation by the state, NAWEC will continue to cooperate fully with the police and support the ongoing investigation until conclusive report is issued. We remain committed to transparency and are open to engaging with any media outlets seeking clarification on the matter. Why would anybody seek clarification when you lie to the public? What's the point of seeking clarification when you lie to the public? Why we seek clarification on something that we can look at and know what it exactly is? You read the letter. NAWEC read the letter. NAWEC know about the existence about the letter, and they are behind it. Reasonably, we can come to a conclusion that NAWEC is behind it. Reasonable. Now, why does it matter? NAWEC bears the sole responsibility as a principal agent that contracted KGI Limited. I said this, and this is the way it works. In corporate governance, especially where safety matters, where third parties are involved, your brand, you always protect your brand. You always protect the name of your company. You insulate your company. People that read law, taught law, and everything will tell you. I mean, I don't have the time. I could have recalled cases. I could have recalled cases to reference about this. Now, as principal, you will not have a company. You contract someone to deliver a service, and that person contract another person. This is not an individual thing, it's a corporate thing. There's something called liability. Who is liable? Your liability insurance would tell you how far you have to go to protect yourself. When your liability insurance assessed to offer you, they will check your safety records. How do you do your compliance, health and safety compliance? Now, first, NAWEC should ensure that KGI, they given the contract, are bona fide, they are they have everything that it takes to take up this sort of contract. Be it any other assessment they need to do, financial, technical, whatever it is, to safety, it is NAWEC's responsibility to do that. That involves that, to make sure that KGI, whoever they involved in their services, NAWEC should ensure that they know that KGI would have a mechanism in place for due diligence and to ensure that the third party they're taking up for this contract is competent to carry the contract. This is corporate governance. They will have to do this. They must do this to comply for their liability insurance, for anything else, and to be called competent company. They will do this because of what they working at. It's their property. End of the day, it's NAWEC's property. And it's after accidents happen, especially high risk, they have to. Now, that is just to establish the principle which they have addressed in the letter. That they said, the letter they sent to the family, they address NAWEC as the principal employee. Now, NAWEC have to ensure that the services, the contractors are going to give, abide by the highest standard of health and safety. They have to be compliant. How do they do that? You give they give a contract to, and I'll tell you something about KEI. They give a contract to the Indian company or KEI. To do the rural electrification or whatever it is. If KEI is to contract any company, a third party, NAWEC should know about that company, and KEI should give all the information necessary to say that this company is competent to carry out the task we're going to give them. The area they were going to work, or the project they're going to deliver, that's something where they call the ramp. They have to make sure the risk is assessed. They have to make sure the risk is assessed. It has to be documented. You see, before doing the risk assessment, the company, as I said, have to be compliant. That the KGI have to be compliant. KEI have to be compliant to ensure that their third-party contractors have what it takes. That they respect, they are compliant with health and safety and everything. They will make sure their staff wear this thing. They make sure their staff have the right training. They have to look at the training records of that company before they give them contracts. This is part of the assessment that NAWEC have to do. NAWEC have to make sure these people are compliant. KIG is compliant, but KIG, any other company they contract, NAWEC, as the parent company or the principal client, have to make sure these people are compliant on these issues. But again, not only the company is compliant on their outfit, their PPEs and everything else, and they have the knowledge, to do this job, but they have to document that. There should be a paper trail. There should be a document. That's what they call a ramp. This ramp, NAWEC must produce the risk assessment and method statement. Risk assessment is to evaluate, to look at this, what they have to work with. How dangerous it is, insulations, whether they need to shut off the area, coordinate off, either they need to shut off the power, whatever needed. They have to look at all that risk. When they look at all that risk, then there should be a method statement. The method statement is what to do to mitigate the risk. You assess it, you find the risk. Oh, this is a hazard. This will be a hazard. That will be a hazard. Now, they were to erect a metal pole. You know, metal poles are very, electric, forgot the technical name for it. It pulls. Now they have to think about it. Now, how insulated is the power here? What do we need to do? The power, is it insulated? How insulated it is? Now they are working with metal poles. What's the distance? Distance from this place to that place. Now, if the pole goes down, what are the risk factors? These are the things they find out. And when they look at all this, then they have a method statement to say that due to using metal poles, the insulation, this thing is this, we are going to make sure this is put to, we are going to coding of this area. We are going to make sure the people working with this thing have things to insulate them from shocks or whatever you call them. You'll have to make sure the distance that they put this, everything will be written, documented before the job is cleared to go. It's called, in other words, it's called the work permit. You have the ramp in order to give in a work permit. The site managers cannot give a work permit. NAWEC cannot give a work permit for them to work there without a ramp. That the work is assessed and there's a method statement and they are competent. The method statement, they look at, they are competent. That accidents would not be likely. And if it happens, these are the mitigation circumstances that will happen. Please. This is something that NAWEC should do. That's why NAWEC should produce that. Now, the inquiry should look at KEI. You know, KEI, in that project, rural leasing, this KEI Indian company, you see, that's why an inquiry is needed. This Indian company brought in transmitters. The transmitters were old. They were heavy. They have to put them onto the pole. You know the transfer they put on the pole, not the one they station, the thing. They have to put them on the pole. They are so heavy that the pole they have to put it in could not support it. They find out that their distribution networks were not insulated enough. And guess what? They were going to get away with it. Even the consultant, you see, these projects are so corruptly, even the consultant signed off for it to be done. Someone else find it and intervened and said, no, that should not happen. And recommended things to be redone. Whether they did it or not, we don't know. That's one. The company itself, KEI, are incompetent. They have delivered very old transmissions, units, very heavy, old, and they were not insulated properly. Two, when the investigation is done, we have to look at BB Electric. They have to look at BB Electric. How competent they are to employ people, what training, their training records. What qualification do these workers have to carry out this kind of job? What training given to them? This have to be assessed. And this should be, the investigation should look at accident records to see if NAWEC keeps any accident records. What accident they have, when the accident happened, after what was done about it, the investigation, did they try to fix it and avoid it happening again? Even near miss, what we call a near miss situation should be recorded and reported. Reported and something have to be done. If it's necessary to shut down certain things, to redo everything, they need to shut it down to do everything. A proper investigation needed to be carried out. I don't think the police have the competency to do it. In this places like here, you need a health and safety executive to carry this out. Do we have a health and safety executive when it comes to these things? I don't know. But those are the bodies that have the competency to do such investigation, not the police. The police will be part of the investigations. But the health and safety executive sits as the chair of the committee that does the investigation if we have one. Now, how unethical for NAWEC as the national company that is the principal contractor, principal contractor of to this thing. How unethical it is as the contractors, the principal contractors. When this happened, they should be in touch. It's not an excuse that this thing happened, they are not part of it. They should take responsibility. And there's nothing these two companies would do without consulting them. These companies cannot just walk away and do what they want to do. And in fact, in serious companies, these two companies will be stopped from carrying any. Because 7 lives, one incident, 7 lives, they will halt it. And health and safety executive will halt them until, the preliminary investigation are done to determine whether they are fit to be let to carry out this. This is how serious it should be taken. But to allow NAWEC to turn around to say, no, we are not part of this, we don't know about this, it's not true. And even if that was true, they still fail but their responsibility. They're trying to distance themselves. Oh, it's KEI we contracted. KEI, no. Hence, they are the principal contractors. They have duty of care, especially at high risk. Working with high risk area. Now, imagine when people are mourning. It's very callous for NAWEC and their contractors to take advantage of the poverty of the victims. Yes, I would say NAWEC. Let them deny it as much as they want. They're not trustful. Any sensible person, the letter state NAWEC. In the letter, they fail to put a letterhead for anybody taking responsibility because they are running a scam. That's why they didn't put a letterhead. You see, they assume that these people are not educated. They assume these people are poor. They are grieving. And someone grieving, and most likely, these people are breadwinners of their family. And you go and dangle 150,000 to them. I think it's 150,000 if I'm right. Yeah, $150,000. Dangle it to this family. Most of them are struggling. Some will take it. They will not even understand what is written on there. It's unethical. NAWEC should have even come out to condemn it if they were not part of it. But no, unfortunately, we are not part of it. Trying to absorb that we are not part of it. Whoever accuses us, we are not part of it. The minute if we are not part of it, you're aware of it, and in the context you saw your name written, part of the people taking pseudo responsibility, that should be enough. Now this is it's the same that we are continuing to witness. When this happen, they'll take our religious leaders. And again, I am not saying that I won't blame the religious leaders, but I think at times it's their sense of awareness. At times they will just be taken by a corporate company coming, telling them they might not understand the corporate world. Or, someone died, or they say, we want you to go with us to visit the family. Probably that's all the religious people know, that they took along. They don't know the implications, they don't know what's in the letter, or how unethical it is. They think it's just a traditional thing. You go and sympathize with the family and give them something. I'm not giving an excuse for them, but I just think that this is what is happening. They are not aware this is what these companies are doing, and NAWEC part of that. NAWEC part of it. We expect civil society and every moral citizen to stand with these families. I tell you, if not, few months, you will not hear about this anymore. And something little will be given, so-called investigation will be done, something written there and forgotten. And it's not that we only owe empathy to the family, but that's the right thing to do as civilized beings, people. But again, we are not doing favor to the families. As I said, it's something our duty to do. But again, why is our duty to do? These accidents will continue. And let us not think that, oh, I don't have a brother, I don't have a sister working for NAWEC, or I don't have a brother, sorry, being a laborer or doing this job. No. That accident might fall onto bystanders and others. It's unfortunate it happened, but again, it happened in a rural setting. Where, just imagine if this happened as build-up area. Imagine what it could have cost. Because these are the same companies that are doing subcontracting. We have witnessed it all the time. That we see subcontractors with NAWEC, we see them working without any protection for that matter, apart from haphazard high vis. Some of them, their footwear, these things, or even the ladders they use are not secure for the heights they go for. We have seen all this. It's not an isolated case. NAWEC cannot treat this as an isolated case. And where 7 lives have been lost, has to be a negligence, the accident. It cannot be described anything else. So, less severe than say it's a negligence. It should not happen. 7 lives should not have happened. If the risk assessment was done and if the method statements were done, it would have informed to avoid these accidents happening. Why did I say civil society and moral citizens? We are the only people to put pressure on this. The institutions and the government don't have the integrity. They don't have the empathy. We are witnessing the way they operate in the country. And they will not tell you the truth. Now every day will come out with a press release. They knowing that they are lying. And they'll put it out there. And they expect people to trust them for anything else, especially where lives have been lost. We should make sure there's justice for this family, for the killing of their family members, most of whom are breadwinners. That's why when we talk about compensation here, it's not to compensate life, but at least to help some of, the situation that these people left behind, at least to suit that and give them a cushion. To deal with this tragedy. The state must conduct a full inquiry. My problem with this is, do we have the competent authority? I am not dissing down the police, but this is a health and safety matter. In any country, the police will be involved, but a health and safety executive body would involve and share the investigations with the police. And I hope, because I'm not aware of, but I hope we have the competent authority in the Gambia to carry out this investigation. It is important to make sure it's done. Why is it so important? It's not only for the life lost. We all know that lives have been lost. That's not what we're talking about, but what led to this life being lost, and what's going to be done in the form to legislation or hold people accountable again. At times, what it takes is to hold companies accountable so that they will not cut corners. So that next time, not only NAWEC, any company or individuals giving out contract would know their responsibility. The duty of care, especially corporate, where their responsibility ends. It did not end from giving a contract to a contractor and sit in your office and expect it to be delivered. No. Especially where health and safety is concerned. Just like you don't give your brand this thing to a company and say, okay, take it up. No, you look after that brand, see that company is capable, is will this thing, and in the process of doing it, they are doing it right. You follow? It's the same thing here. Now we're giving a contract to KEI. It does not end there. There's a pre-qualification to make sure they are qualified to do this, especially when you do the finance assessment. Every assessment, health and safety is key to them having that contract. And as I said earlier, when they have to involve a third party, that contract should indicate that that third party should be equally qualified to make sure, again, the health and safety, the way they work, the standards of health and safety, it has to. Recommended safe would access to. And what guarantee that is they produce the paperwork. They will not say, hey, yeah, we did the assessments. No. You have to prove that you've done the assessments. You have to prove that you have a method statement to deal with the risk that you find before the work permit is issued, or what this guy said, hot works permit. In the industry, I think hot works is where certain things are. I think in this case, you might know better that it is called a hot works, but in many cases, it's a work permit. So it's to give you the go ahead to carry it out, because we are satisfied. You have produced that this is what you assess, and this is the method statement. This is how you're going to carry it out to avoid this, to avoid that in it. That would have been done. And this is why it's important for us to carry this. But when companies know that, if they fail to carry things right, the consequences are grave. They will make sure they do it right. Many corporations only care if it hurts their profits, especially in developing countries. Especially when we go to countries like India and others that have no standards for that matter, and give them contracts. These are the due considerations we do. As I said, KEI have been found before, bringing outdated manufactured transmission. These are all the problems NAWEC have. That's why they are failing. The corruption in NAWEC. I state this and let them come and deny it. KEI have been found giving, very heavy, outdated transmitters that cannot even be held properly on the poles, which are supposed to be held on the pole. And they find out that they are not insulated properly, conductors or whatever they call them. And they were going ahead with it. They even got signed off by a consultant because they are all corrupt. Someone else came over and found and said, no, this has to be changed. Did they change it? I don't know. Now, I don't think that this is an isolated case. I think Gambians, we have to hold these institutions and government accountable to make sure this is done right. And that's a duty of care we have for our people, but for ourselves. It's not only about the people who have already dead, but likely accidents, to avoid these things. And as I said, during the investigations, they should investigate, look for the records of their reported accident, their accident book. What have been done? Did they record these things? What have been done when these things happen? This is not the first time such incidents have happened. I remember about 2 reported before. I don't know whether someone died in it or not, but it happened before. I can't tell which company was responsible then, but still they were working for NAWEC. And every day we do see people complain about, oh, NAWEC pole was going off, nobody to deal with it, and so on. We have seen the quality of work being carried out, with NAWEC and others. Because of they get away with it, they will do it. And if we are silenced, these families too will just be the blues and society, or it will be sad for us to be seen that way, but again, we will suffer because this accident will continue, and it might be greater than what is it now. Thank you very much, guys. That's all I just wanted to come and react on, especially seeing NAWEC coming to try to distance themselves. We'll try and follow this case, and unfortunately, there's not much we can do. It's to advocate, but as people, if we come together, that's when they will listen to us and they will do something about it. But again, accountability is about taking in records, and we are one day these things would be it's already registered. We are in the process of the accountability. If we were quiet, nothing talk about it, it would be easier for them. But hence we started this. Let's continue and make sure we have something done about it. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening.